What was it that prompted you to choose this as your debut novel? Was there anything specific in mind?
Um, it was actually I was actually going to write another story, and I was well into writing it. And one day I just woke up and this story was in my head, and I just felt I had to write it. I couldn't write anything else but this, and that's where the story came out.
But is there a particular trigger for the story?
No, actually, there wasn't. It's always been a childhood fascination of mine, the lives of people in these buildings. Because in school, friends would say, "Oh, it's between 5 and 6 is our building. We go down and play with our building friends." And I never had that, and I always wondered what it would be like for them, and how lovely that they have this. And so and when I'd visit them, or go over to meet friends or family who lived in buildings, I was just fascinated by that world. So that's where this comes from.
You also come from extremely rich literary heritage. And did your grandfathers take interest, and you've dedicated the book to them as well? Did they take interest in your writing as a kid? Were you interested in writing as a kid?
I was interested in reading as a child and writing when I was older, but by then they were very old, and I don't know if I really necessarily shared it with them. It was something I just kept to myself. I didn't even share it with my parents or my brother. And it was very personal to me. So they never had a chance to guide me in that way, but just being around them, listening to their stories, reading their works, hearing them tell stories orally, that all formed a huge part of my childhood.
Because comparisons are quite inevitable. Is that something that ever sort of crossed your mind?
I don't think anyone can compare, because it's leagues apart. What my grandfather did, both my grandfathers, and what I've started doing is very, very different. I mean, I'm not in the same league as them.
What were the challenges for you?
Very often you write and then you look back and you're like, this is such rubbish, what am I doing? But I think the trick is that you have to just push through it. You have to push through the days where you have self-doubt, and you have to push through the days when you feel no one's going to read this, it's, whatever. And eventually you manage. You just have to do it. It's like an exercise. You wake up, you go to the gym, you wake up, you write.
What are the books or authors that you've grown up admiring, liking, enjoyed?
So I'm quite into the classics. Jane Austen, Charles Dickens, the Bronte sisters. That's my sort of beat.
You've also started a fashion label. How do you juggle these things? Is it?
I'm asking myself that. The only answer I have is that don't underestimate women. They're very good at multitasking, right. And I think that's how I've been able to do it. They're just two very separate things to do. I don't have much time for myself these days, but it's happening, and I'm being able to cope. So as long as I can, I'll try and do it. Yeah, I'll try and do it.
But I want to end by asking what next for you? More writing, more books?
Yes, definitely. I would like to write more. I mean, I have another book that I'm going to do for HarperCollins. So I already have that story kind of planned out, and I'll start working on that as soon as all the dust settles down from this.